Hello, 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 and welcome to the Lyons Den Podcast. I'm your host, Lauren Lyons, and we are back with another TV recap. But first, we want to just test the audio to make sure that things are working. But we're going to get into all things Dear from Detroit season two that is now on Paramount Plus. And I got an opportunity and chance to watch the show, season one. And I was like, oh my God, this is so good. This would be perfect to recap. So we're back to get into all the things. But you guys know first, we have to go over the House Den rules. And that simply is because we're talking scripted television. Get your favorite drink, whatever, whether it's water or juice. I got a new cup that I wanted to show you guys. Let's get into it, and let's talk about episodes one and two of DR from Detroit. So we start off this season, or I feel like we should do like a quick recap of what happened in season one. So in season one, we have Diarra, who is a teacher who was married to a lawyer. Morris Chestnut is the character, and she is going through a divorce, trying to pretty much going through a midlife crisis, if you will. She tries to get step her foot into dating, and her Tinder date, she ends up matching with a Tinder date. Well, it seems like a date made in heaven, and then he ghosts her. So, because of the fragile state that she was in, she pretty much was like, no, there's no way we had this great time. And I was just ghosted. She didn't want to believe it, and her starting this journey really is a launching pad on her discovering something bigger than she imagined. Once she realized, because she seems like has deductive reasoning, finds out that her date was reported missing when he was a kid. And she has this running theory that this is the man and he's ran and he was kidnapped again. And so she seeks out with her best friends to go, Aja and is it Brandon? I'm not remembering if that's his name. But I'm sorry. Yeah. She goes out with her friends and they pretty much investigate to try to find him, and they come to find out it was him. And there's this bigger conspiracy going on where there were two gangs that were fighting. I'm gonna be honest, like it was a whole lot trying to keep up with it. But essentially, there was a hit that was called for a his dad, but because they didn't know that they were named the same way, they ended up taking it out on the little boy, and he was really supposed to be killed. But one of the gang members' girlfriend stepped in and took him and it took him away before the gangs could come back and retaliate against him and kill him. And so they staged his murder, but essentially he was taken away for protection because of the hit that was called. So they find all this out. It ends in a big shootout. We find a level of resolve, but then what we find out is there's actually over the gang members someone else that they consider to be even bigger threat. I believe was it we need to look it up. They called him Captain, I believe. The captain or the leader. Um, I want to see if I can remember what exactly that they call him. But essentially, this is the guy who has all of his hands, the chief. Thank you. Okay. His name is the chief. And essentially, they find out that this is the person that was the one who had his hands in all the things that were going on in the disappearance of Chris, who which is now his current name, but his name, real name, we're looking it up as we speak, is Dante. Dante, who went missing. We also see, or we also have in here that um Alicia Rashad is also in this as well, who plays Dante's mother. Um, And so, what I think season one does a really beautiful job at is, for one, we are actually, this is, I think black led, right? Like that's the number one thing that I think stands out to you. If you like shows like Elizabeth, if you like shows like even Psych, Monk, um, these type of whodunits, investigator shows that maybe are done by PIs, not necessarily cops, then you will absolutely love this show. But we actually are centering a missing child, which we know statistically they are not found or invested in the same amount as for other children. So it was really good to not only have a story highlight a black missing child, but also, I mean, you have some heavy hitters also join this show. And then to see a black woman lead as her own PI, if you will, um, one, be able to go on this adventure, but two, also have people who were down for her shenanigans. Like they believed her. They were like, okay, that's you say this happened. Let's go, let's figure it out. And the fact that they like believe her is why they were able to find him. And I think that sentiment speaks volumes overall, like across, in real ways when it comes to believing black women and us having this intuition and knowing when something isn't right. And the fact that this show leads with that, a woman's intuition, and they end up solving an entire case, I think speaks volumes. So I really enjoyed the first season. So now season 2 picks up where, um now that they went through that trauma, Diarra and Chris, if you will, are a bit trauma bonded. They're in this relationship where, because of what has happened, it's almost like they are forced to now to be together. But remember, they've only been on one date, so they really don't know each other. But because she was responsible for essentially finding him again and saving his life, it's like that trauma is the only thing that is keeping them together. And so you see where you maybe thought there would be a happy ending. She maybe thought that this was her person because she went through so much to find him. Comes to find out that, wow, okay, reality has set in and he's not really everything that I thought he would be. And her void is still there and how she was feeling even prior to her divorce. We also did see in season 1 where she was considering going back with her ex-husband until she found out that he was being a little messy in terms of finding out the truth as well. Um, and we'll touch on a little bit of maybe why later. But we will start the episode where they are kind of going through the motions, but like starting from the beginning at the same time. And she is expressing to her friends like, hey, I didn't know this was going to be all of this. Like he's crying, he's emotionally unstable and quite frankly shouldn't be in a relationship, if we be completely honest. But then it's like, I think both of them are not being truthful, as we come to find out. And because they know that if they're honest, they would probably end things, which, I think they're a cute couple. I was like, oh man, yeah. But I think for them, because they shared this experience that's what's bonding them together, and they don't want to admit that that's the only thing that's bonding them together. So um Diarra is dealing with how does she navigate this, because she really wants to end things, but her friends are like, you would be a really bad person if you broke up with him right now. I mean, I don't know. I feel like there should have been a pause before we even got this far to where he's staying in your house. I think we skipped some steps here to where you've been literally experienced so many things. I think it's fine to take a step back, do you get some help, seek help, and then if we can, if you ever guys ever come back to it, then so be it. But okay, they just skipped over a couple steps and now she's in regret. So they decide they're gonna go to Chris's how family's barbecue. And so what it does is Diarra is breaking down the different dynamics on what it is and what it's like to be a part of a black family, even which I think is an interesting perspective of being a part of a black family and there's a missing child. and him not only navigating that experience, but how would Black people cope with navigating that experience. And I just think it was very interesting to kind of see what that could be like, because we don't really often see it. But you had your cousins who, with the backhanded compliments, you had your judgy aunts as well. Your what is it called? Doing the dozens as well. But like, how funny is it when you're dealing with someone full of trauma? Because it's like, as Black people, that's how a big way of how we cope is through jokes, is through laughter. And so really just seeing, okay, but a situation like this is really effective. So um but Diarra is really here because she's still not over the case. She still has a lot of things that she would like, she still has questions about regarding the situation. And she's not giving up on it. She really needs to know, if it needs to close it, needs to figure out who is the chief. Who is the guy that is in charge? Is he the chief? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Who is he? Because she doesn't feel like this is completely solved, because she thinks that, like, okay, this can continue to go on. And she because she's looking at the same time, like, for that excitement and feeling whole, what these cases do, she doesn't want to let up. So while she's there, she knows that his mother is still not being 100% honest about the situation, because she, at the end of the season, was given a tape of the conspiracy, of all the things that were going on that Chris had found, and the mom had not given it to the police yet. So that Diarra knew that, okay, that means that you know who he is, and you're scared to go and be honest, or go and investigate and find out who he is. So why? There must be evidence somewhere where you know. So all throughout the day, she's trying to get the code, passcodes, all the things, while also trying to be supportive and there for Chris. His emotional out outbursts are very concerning to her, to concerning to her friends who are also there as well. Remember, one of her friends did get, like, shot. And the other friend is Aja, is a entrepreneur, so they're there also trying to help her and support her. We then see this theme of the cousins continuing to throw shots so at him, and really just try to navigate an uncomfortable situation, and that's really what it is. And so Diarra pretty much tells Chris, like, hey, like, even if you, oh, this is the thing, you also see the battle of not only Chris trying to fit in but also navigate this, but there, like, because he's estranged from his mom, he doesn't really know her, he hasn't spent years with her anymore. His mom really wants him to remember things, and it go back to what she imagined it would be, and that's just not the reality. He's a severely traumatized man. So you even see that struggle happening, where he doesn't like certain foods, or he doesn't want to even be called by his real name, not receptive to family, not even really receptive to her. So all of that is going on, all while Diarra is trying to crack the grit in the code to his mother's house, to his mother's room. Finally, she realizes that the code, let me see, the code, what was the code? Dang, I'm trying to remember the code. But essentially, the code she ends up trying, I believe, was an important. Oh, she finds a password. She was able to find the password written somewhere else, not just like random birthdays or whatever, but she ends up finding it. She uses it. She gets in, and she sees photos of a business owner that was introduced in season one, who the best friend Aja was looking to get support from, because he is a big name in the community. I don't quite remember if he's a politician, but he's a big, I think he is, big name in the community. And she wanted to network with him so that she could get support with building her own salon. Now, this said person was in a photo. So from there, we get a big reveal that the chief is, in fact, this business owner. And we get the original photo of where he's cut out to where his picture actually was, where they made a deal with these different people in the photo that we used from season one. So that is the biggest, that's a big revelation. Like, oh wow. So this is actually the chief. So as she's looking, of course, the mom comes in. What are you doing? I mean, Diarra, one thing about Diarra, and we'll see this as we continue to keep talking about it, is she can sleuth, but baby, if you're gonna be this nosy, you're gonna do this work, you gotta be careful. Like you can't fight, you ain't armed, ain't nothing. You don't have any skills to protect yourself. I need you to be more careful. I really do. Like you need to be a little bit more sneakier. Just got the door wide open, just looking. I mean, come on now. You didn't think that lady was gonna go look around her house? So she confronts her and asks her, "Hey, I need you to be honest with me. What is going on? Why would he have it? Do you know that he has a hit like on your son? Why would he do that?" She says, "No, I don't believe it. I don't think he would do that." And she's like, "Well, why would he not do that? Like, because this is the guy, this is Chief. So what's T? Like, what's going on?" And from her expression, she sees that, like, oh, wait a minute. Did you guys have a relationship? And so then this is where Felicia Rashad explains that there was a time where she did start having an affair with him when he was up and coming, when she moved to the neighborhood, and he was there trying to basically at the start of his career, and they had an affair. And so she was like, no, he would never do that because he adored me and my family. So I don't think that he would intentionally do this to hurt my son. Because remember, the hit was out. Really, the hit was for Senior. So it kind of makes sense because maybe he would do it for Senior because he was in love with you. And but because they have the same name, like that's a very fair, it maybe wasn't your son, but it was probably your husband. But her husband, I think, had made someone upset, is was what was said. But it would make sense because if he was in love with you, then yeah. Well, they keep talking, and she's like, okay, so why don't you think that he could have done that? And she pauses, and then it's like, wait, do you think that the chief is Chris's dad? It- so the daddy that Dante has, who is Chris, is who's passed away by now, is really not the daddy, but is really the chief. I said, "Oh, Jesus, the family secret." This the problem with family secrets. You can't do that. Like the family secrets, that's what be messing people up now. So now Diarra knows this information and she's just like torn because she doesn't necessarily know what to do. But in between trying to, was she was trying to get in the room and trying to solve and close this case, Chris picks up that like this is what she was trying to do because I mean the girl kept leaving every 5 minutes. And so he again like finds excitement in these investigations. And so he was, I think, helped her with trying to find the password, but clearly not a good lookout. And so she's torn because this is what pulls her back to reconnect with Chris because they do enjoy and like solving crimes together. They find it, they're similar in that way that they use this to fill a void. But when there's nothing, when that's not there, they don't really know how, and they never had the opportunity to actually grow their relationship. So now she's got this information, like family secret, jaw breaking information that, like, oh, your dad is actually alive and he may have been the person involved in trying to get you kidnapped and killed. How do you tell a person that when they are already on the edge? And she sees that in the party where the cousins roast him again, and Chris essentially snaps. He goes completely off. And there was a gift that the family gave, which I thought was wild, but I think really again honed in on the fact that like Black families don't necessarily know how to handle trauma in the best way. And they gave him a gun as a way of protection, and but also as a way to say, we don't know how to console you. We don't know how to help you, but maybe this can give you some solace. I mean, a hug could suffice. Understanding, um, encourage him to go to therapy, but okay, a gun, I guess, is something that practically they could maybe do in their way of trying to understand. Okay. So he ends up taking the gun out and just goes completely off. So everyone is just staring, like scared, as if he's going to hold everybody hostage. The cousin is there, and Diarra is just like, oh my God, he's completely lost it. I'm with a crazy person. What am I going to do? Come to find out, excuse me, come to find out, it was a scene from a movie. And they were just playing him and the cousin. That was his way of getting back at them. The cousin caught on because he started quoting from the movie, and they're just laughing and ha ha ha. And then Diarra's like, okay, that's not really funny because you did that a little bit too well. And I already know that you are emotionally unstable. I already know you're dealing with a lot because I see you at home behind closed doors because you've been crying for the last couple months at my house, not doing nothing. So I know that this felt a little bit too real. Uh, so that that pretty much is the party. Everyone goes home. Diara's trying to figure out what is she gonna tell him, what is she gonna do, but that somehow leads her to be like, you know what? I think I'm gonna go confront him and let him know that I'm onto him. Girl, girl, please. I said, what are you doing? Now this is where I said, oh, you hit above your head. If you're gonna be in this type of life, if you're gonna do these type of things, right? You got to move a little bit more smart. I don't want to say smart because she is smart. I mean, the way that she's able to deduct her deductive reasoning is phenomenal, but it's like you just a girl off the street in Chicago, in Detroit. Uh, if this person was responsible for a whole conspiracy regarding a missing child in the neighborhood, had multiple gangs involved, those said gangs no longer exist. It was a hit gone wrong. And you really think you're gonna go and step to that person who everybody is scared of? Diarra, please. Please. What was the whole like why? Why on earth would I think that that's the best route to take? I was like, yeah, this makes no sense. But this shows me that I think Diarra's um need for adrenaline, for action overrides, I think, logic a lot of times, because she doesn't think. And then when she ends up in almost dire situations, it's like, oh, maybe I should have thought about that. And we see that this is not going away because at the beginning of the episode, again, it flashed us forward to her being in imminent danger with someone shooting at her, so we know that that trait is not gone from her. She has not learned her lesson, but she decides she's gonna walk up in his office because she says she wants to go collect the check under the guise of collecting the check because there was a reward for whoever found him. So she's going to do that, and she can't even hide that she knows. Worst poker face ever. Anyway, like it was so bad, so bad. To the point where he was just like, oh, okay, I see what this is. And essentially threatens her entire life. Like, actually, her entire life. He has plans to rebuild the city and how he has expanded around the city. And so he, on his map, points out the different places, one place where she works, the other place where her friend works, because remember, the friend went to him to ask for his support and funding, to then her ex-husband, who he is a silent partner to help fund the biggest, blackest law firm. All the things that her family and life is involved with, he has a hand in. So he pretty much tells her, and oh, he goes, pulls out the missing um evidence that went missing, where her neighbor, who I don't see in this season, which I'm kind of upset about, but her neighbor, her husband, uh out of defense, did end up killing one of the head of the gangs with this object. He was the one that pulled out the evidence and was like, if you ever want to try me, your little friends that are up in the mountains getting some vacation, they'll be in trouble too. Does all of this. So the girl's just like, because it's like, what did you think? Who did you think you was fooling? How did you think that this was gonna go for real? Like, let's be so for real. What did you think was gonna happen? This man was always two steps ahead, and everyone is scared of him. Girl, I was just like, yeah, this was the wrong move. So she shook, as you should be. And he pretty much was like, don't come for me unless I send for you. And if I send for you, you in trouble. And they had the nerve to burn up the goddamn check. So she didn't even get $100,000. She didn't even get the money. I said, Diarra, you should have had that check in your hand before you made all these accusations, girl. You just a teacher. You a public school teacher. You ain't making no money. Lord have mercy. And you got somebody in your house too who ain't got no money either because he's so traumatized. Girl, what are you doing? What are you doing? So that is what happened on that front. So that shakes her to the core, to where she decides, like, all right, I guess I should fall back. Yeah, you should. While all this happened, though, we do have a moment where Chris's uncle, I believe, who is Colonel from Different World, he is in this role, and he asked Diarra, hey, I need you to help me find my dresser. Diarra's like, I'm not in the business of doing that. Because you know how black people are. Once they find out what skills you have, they're going to use it until they can use it no more. So Diarra's like, I'm not doing that. No, I'm good. I'm no thank you, and brushes him off. Well, we forward to where the uncle is being held hostage and essentially tortured, because he's looking for that said dresser, and he's like, I'm gonna get somebody to help me, I promise. So it's like, what is in this dresser? And so we find out, like, okay, this is where the season 2 plot is going to maneuver and pivot towards, that there's maybe another mystery that needs to be solved. Diarra gets home. Her insomnia is back, but Chris can pick up on those cues and says, "Hey, what did you find? I know you were snooping. What happened?" And this is the moment that Diarra decides that, okay, I'm going to just close this chapter because there's no way that I can win. And also, he actually probably could not handle this. So she tells him, "Oh, nothing. He just died. Like, he's not, sorry. Chief is gone. We got rid of him. That was it. Case closed." And so you can see, like, oh, the sadness of Chris, because again, like, this is the way that they, I think, deal with um the whole, like, they feel like, I think this is how they kind of cope with it. So eager to look for another adventure, Chris goes, well, do you want to help my uncle with this dresser? She's like, really? I mean, I don't really think it's that big of a deal. He was like, I don't know. It could be fun. It could be something that, again, this is how they bonded with each other. This is how they connected with each other when they originally met. They, I think they did escape room, but they sized each other up because they're both very perceptive people. So finding a way to connect them again, like to reignite that connection that they had, which is solving crimes. So Diarra agrees. And that's what we get from episode one. My overall thoughts were, yeah, you crazy for going and stepping to the chief. I'm upset that I don't see the best friend, the neighbor. I really liked the neighbor, and I thought her character was a breath of fresh air, honestly. So I was really upset that she was not, and I don't think she will be in this season. Um, so that was really upset or sad. Um, but nonetheless, I think it's very interesting that she her and Chris's relationship. I don't know if we're gonna get a lot of Morris Chestnut this season. But I will say I am glad that we are moving on to another um case, and we're not going to just stay. And I kind of have a feeling that this is probably all going to end up connecting in some way. That's what I'm thinking. But we'll see. So Diarra goes back in episode 2. We pick back up where she reaches out to um Ron, who is his uncle, I believe. And she says, okay, so what do you need me to look for? She gets more information that a it is a chest, a very important chest that he needs it. He says it runs in his family, and he will give them, they end up with 3 months rent. And so she says, fine, I will go and I will look for this 3 months for this for you. And at the same time, Diarra realizes from the last episode that they definitely need to be in a therapy session. So they go and talk to the same person that her neighbor from last season, who was a big, huge part in the gang, that she grew up with, his therapist, who was, I don't know, some lady that he's found to talk to, his way of therapy. They have went and started going to her, and they, again, it shows more of their relationship where they're not really communicating how they really feel. So we have that battle. Then we also have an internal battle with Diarra and understanding, like in her feeling like she knows for a fact that she wants to be a mom. And that is why she broke it off with her ex-husband, because she thought that he cheated on her, when come to find out it was he had had a vasectomy, so she could never get pregnant, and she had lied, and that's what made them break up the second time, and prompted her to then go full on Dante and find him and then be in a relationship with him and go ahead and divorce her ex-husband. Because that's something like, you know kind of unforgivable, because you lied instead of being honest. So yeah, she's come to the senses that she for sure wants to have a baby and wants something better in her relationship. And so she's trying to battle and struggle with, okay, well, how do I keep loyal or keep on with Chris? Because she just doesn't think that he's in this headspace. He's just experienced a lot of trauma. So they try therapy. At first, it's really not going anywhere. But of course, as she's trying to um get back, like, as she's trying to um answer these questions, it's kind of like fate literally comes knocking on her door. And it's funny, there's a person like in the neighborhood who is notoriously known, if you answer the door and he says, hey, can you watch my kid for a second, which I think is a wild thing to do. But he's like, this is the community, we're fine. You know how the community to help raise your kids children together, that's what it was. He was like, I'm gonna be back, I'm gonna be right back. And Ron was like, you actually said yes and opened the door. He's gonna be back like tomorrow. So you might as well go to the community area, get what you need, because you're not gonna see him for a while. He do this to everybody. And so she's literally met with a baby, and it kind of is there, like this moment is really there to highlight how she's really been feeling, and for that to come to the surface and come back up. um so she decides to take on the case. They go to try to investigate how does a said desk go missing. It's a big desk, and he says his nephew stole it, probably trying to get a couple bucks. So where would it have been sold to? They find an antique shop. They go to the antique shop. The owner there, um she says, hey, I we have this chance, somebody tried to sell it to you. The owner plays dumb, acts completely like, what do you mean? I don't, no, I don't think, So she comes up with the plan. Mind you, she has a baby this entire time in her hand. Says she going to change the baby. As she goes, she does her snooping. She realizes that he in fact knew who had the chest. And she sees a Coney Island pamphlet on the side of the desk that says Queen, that she found very interesting. Um, as she's looking for that, she sees like a goat. I don't know, it's a random goat, but anyway, I honestly don't know. But she goes, she sees that he did try to sell it. They had an email exchange, but then it fell off, and was trying to figure out why did the nephew not continue to go through with the sale. So what is it about this chest? As she's leaving again, because Diarra don't be paying attention to her surroundings, don't really be like, you be snooping, but you don't be pay attention. Coming out, we see the girl from Forever. What's her name? Um, the leading actress in Forever. What's her name? Lovey Simmons. Lovey Simone. Yeah, she pops up and brushes against her. It was a very casual brush, but I said, I don't think she would be in a show like this if this was just for a brush moment. Like, you don't bring her in with very high, number one show on Netflix, high rated show on Netflix, for her to just brush by. And so she catches her and she's just like, girl, whatever. She's like, oh, thank you, black girl. So she doesn't think anything of it, that she, passed her and she came out of the office instead of the bathroom. So as they move forward, they're like, all right, we need to find the nephew. And this is where it, for me, it got a little bit dicey, and I'm trying to make sure that I remember everything. um well, before we get there, we do have a side plot where Aja is trying to continue to build her empire. And so she is reached out to all the different hairdressers to sell this hair that she has. So I really love that for her. I really love seeing a girl that's ambitious and getting her things together. And it seems like it's working until the shipment arrives and she gets some issues with there. And so she's trying to figure out how to solve. So, hmm, is it the Amori? That is what it is called. He's calling it an Amori. She thinks it's just cheap chess. But Ashley quickly finds a lot of people are really going out of their way to make sure that they don't find it. And let's see. We go down to do. I was trying to look through my notes to see. But essentially, they're going after as they're going and investigating, they end up finding the nephew, but him and his buddy come show up and pretty much threaten, thinking that, they're hired by somebody, and she has a baby still, by the way, at this point. And she's like, "Oh my God, I have a baby. I'm here because you're your uncle." So he's like, "My uncle don't know anything. Leave him out of this." But as we see the rage that Chris holds in this moment, and it does alarm and it does scare Diarra, not in a way I think of like, oh, he's gonna do it to me, but I think in a way of like he's has this pent up and he really needs to go get some healing. But nonetheless, I mean, he's taking them down one by one, like he fought. And so they just, leave with like a warning and tell them to stay away. So that then makes them feel like that lets them know that like, okay, this is bigger than this chess. There's something else that's going on. Maybe there's something in this chest that they're needing, and maybe Ron's not being honest, or maybe the nephew is the one innocent, and Ron is the one trying to give it to someone else bigger. Um, and so they quickly realize that there's some bigger people in play that have to do with this chest. And they also try to figure out, well, how in the world did he know that we were here? Did he know? And she put the pieces together that the girl from Forever was his girlfriend and was the one that alerted him. And she did not just let it slide by, but she in fact told, and that's where he came and confronted them. So then they say, okay, well, we're going to go and we're going to follow her to her neighborhood and ask her like what's going on. Why do you guys care about this chest so much? And while this is happening again, we get the moment with Aja, but also their therapy sessions where she's trying to encourage them to be honest be honest with each other and have conversations about how they feel. And it does prompt them to start over because they now have this case that is the glue essentially to their relationship. And it opens the door for them to try. Let's actually try to make this relationship work, get to know each other. So before we get to that though, they're driving with her friends, Mr. T, Aja, to go, and they realize it's prom because in the hood out, everybody out, but then also they realize they're in gang territory. So they're like, oh my God, this is gang related. Why is this gang related yet again? Oh my God. Like, bro. So clearly this desk has something a lot more. And so they're like, okay, we have to play it cool. The baby to serve as a way to disarm. They are able to get in, no questions asked, really. And you notice how the friend, Mr. T, goes in the house, goes and investigates and doesn't get caught, but when Diarra does it, she does. Yeah, I need you to learn, Diarra. I need you to learn. So they go, they see the girlfriend, they say, hey, what's going on? Why would you send him? Like, we're not here for that. We just here because Ron, the uncle, wants it. Like, what's going on? So she's just like, you're gonna have to ask him. He's coming, because she threatened to like tell her dad that like you're messing with somebody. You want me to tell your dad that that's what you're doing? Um, so she tells them, "Oh yeah, he's coming. You can ask him yourself." And in this conversation, she does let him know that like she is good at craftsmanship, and I forgot the context of what she was saying it as. Um, oh, the value. She was talking about in terms of the value of the piece. That's why he wanted it, because it's a very valuable piece, actually. And she knows because she has a specialty in it, actually. And so it was a bit of a not really, I guess, an Easter egg of what's to come. So the best friend doesn't really find anything. He doesn't go check the basement because he was probably scary, because I would be scared too if I'm going in a fully gang neighborhood, don't know anybody, and I'm in your house. Yeah, I'd be scared. So this prompts Diarra to go down there. And once she goes down there, she finds the prom queen, or the young lady that's going to prom in the neighborhood is here for one of the young ladies. And she sees that she's distraught, crying, and she gives her this word of encouragement, but does it in her own modern day way. Again, another way of Diarra coming to terms with the fact that she does in fact want to be a mother, and that how well she would be at being a mother, because she pretty much tells her, this girl is smart, straight A's, again debunking stereotypical storyline that you would expect to be here from a person being from a neighborhood of gangs. Straight A student who's like, I want to make mistakes, I don't want to just be perfect, but I feel like I'd be judged for it. And Diarra pretty much tells her, like, live your life, be responsible, but live your life, do things that make you happy, don't feel like you have to um fit up to people's unrealistic expectations of you, because you got to be happy with you at the end of the day. I think it was a beautiful, beautiful speech, very different than what you would typically hear. And the girl um appreciated it. She believed that she was her friend, her neighbor's aunt. It worked. And she realizes as they're talking that the girl is sitting on this said chest. So she's like, oh my God, I found it. How? And it was easy. Like, oh, okay, we found it. As she's looking at the chest, she sees again a pamphlet, or I may be going a little bit ahead, but as she's looking, the dad comes and is starting to attack her. Again, Diarra not paying attention to her surroundings at all. Because how did you think you were going to get a desk out? I don't even know how they got the desk out. But nonetheless, Chris comes, helps her, knocks out the dad, and they end up taking the dresser. So because they have this win, and because this is how they feel, like, feel a sense of fulfillment, this really reunites Chris and Diarra's relationship, where they get to know each other. They actually go on a date. They enjoy each other's company and go through all the things that couples are supposed to go through, because investigations are what connect them and unite them, and they're a good partnership when they do it. And it then opens it up for them to be honest about the things that they want, things they care about, stories that they have. So they have this beautiful montage moment of that. And they start doing what couples do, and they realize that they kind of break the desk. And she's like, oh my God, I didn't mean to do that. But then she says, wait, no, somebody made this. This is not this is it was too easy to break. So they realized that they actually lied. This is actually not the right desk, and the girl set them up the whole time. So why would kids and these people do so much over a chest? There's clearly something else going on. Maybe there's drugs in there, is what they thought. It's something else. And I think this is where they find the pamphlet of Queens, a brochure, and they're like, okay, clearly there's a connection here, because she found a sticky note in the office. She found even the brochure, and she found another brochure. So she's like, we need to go to this address, because there's clearly something here that has to do with the chest. So because that excitement is now rekindled, that she's like, we gotta go check it out now. They're on the way to go check it out before they leave. Um Not even before they leave, the baby is gone at this point, because the dad comes back and it's like, where were you? Oh my God, you're so responsible. And it's like, you left your baby with strangers. There's no one more irresponsible than you. Like, you got it. But the baby is gone. Somehow they get on a topic of having children while they're on their way there. And Diarra's like, oh wait, you don't want children? So why this is all happening, and they're on their way to go investigate this building at, like, what, 12 o'clock in the at night. She finds out that, like, he doesn't want kids, because he doesn't want to bring kids in this world like this, and because again, he's a very unstable person right now, and um is having a hard time. So she finds out that he does not want any kids, and so that is kind of the last straw, where she realizes and understands that, like, this is not going to work, and I'm trying to make it work. There are ways that we do connect. It's great, it's good, but most of the time it's only good and great when we are doing investigations. He's a great partner, but he's not a great person that she can see her life with. And that was the thing. that did it. That was the end of the straw because he didn't want kids, and that's something that she very much desires to have. So while she's in the middle of like, we need to talk, they open the door and they see a whole bunch of people that's been unalived, gone. And I think including the owner of the antique shop, I believe. And it's like, oh my God, what happened? Who did this? And then also, we need to go because we could be put at this crime at the scene and we have nothing to do with this. What, like, we need to go. So they immediately leave. And that's the end of episode 2 of the Diarra from Detroit. So okay, here are my predictions. I absolutely do think that there is something about that chess that is so valuable that gangs are involved. It's something, whether it's something mechanically fixed into it, or and money is hidden in the chess, which probably makes more sense. I think more valuable than drugs. I don't think you're this messy. You're doing all this if there wasn't anything in that chest. I think maybe Ron was hiding money or having some dealings, and he would save things in that chest. And whoever he made upset wanted their money, and the nephew took it. And it maybe has something to do with that. That's what I think. Um, do I think Chief is over with? No, I wouldn't be surprised if he has his hand in this in some way, shape, or fashion. I do think he is still involved. We just don't know how is it going to resolve itself. I don't know, but I think it's not over for him for sure. And yeah, like I've had mixed feelings about Chris and Diarra ending things, but I think like when somebody going through that much trauma, you probably should be single for a while, hands down. I do miss her other best friend. I thought her character was so unique and nice. And I get it. Like it's a lot of people, especially if you have Chris. Then do we also need to have her? I fully understand that. That's a lot of people to manage story wise, but I do miss her friend. I really do. And I hope she comes back. Hopefully, if things are renewed season 3. How would I rate each episode? I'm going to say for episode 1, I probably would give it a 7 because it was just a taste. It was just like, okay, we're back in it, right? Episode 2, for sure. I would actually give it an 8 because what I do like about the show is the way that they are able to do the side stories, but keep it moving. Now, sometimes it can be slightly confusing, but I think like that's what keeps it interesting is we're not just only following Diarra, but we're following her other friends. And I think along the road, you can do so much with that because you're not just only focusing on Diarra, AJ, Mr. What's his name? Mr. Green? Is it Mr. What's his name? What is her best friend's name? Um, was it Mr. T? Mr. T. Those can have separate plot stories that I think can be very interesting as the shows evolve. And I did forget this one thing that Mr. T was going to an event where he got there was evidence that they found of a stamp of a key that they found in the antique shop, and so he was going to investigate that place, see who was there, and see if he could find some answers to this desk, because again by now they know it's bigger than the desk. He is late though to it, but he still goes, and while he goes he sees the neighbor, who is Danger is his name, who she kind of had a very emotional relationship with, which was very interesting last season. But was a part of the gang, and the gang leader that was killed by her best friend's husband. She sees him in a delivery truck delivering items, and it was shocking. Like, wait, I thought you were gone. Like, what are you doing? Why are you here? So because no one had been seeing him up to this point. So we know that that's about to go somewhere as well. And we'll see more about the repercussions of what took place at that shootout. It's all going to be very interesting. So I do think I would give it an 8 because again, I like how they breadcrumb all the different issues and directions that this could go that keeps it entertaining, like it keeps it interesting. Um because it's not just a straight shot, we're solving a crime each episode, but it's actually drama centering around these characters. So I'm excited. I'll be back to talk about episode 3. I don't know if episode 3 or 4 come together, but either way, we'll be back to talk about it. We may come back a little sooner because episodes do drop Wednesday night. So I want you guys to have my take on the episodes before the new episode drops. So but go watch it. It's out on Paramount Plus. I'll be watching that. Should be some good stuff. In the meantime, you should follow me at Lauren.Ashley on all social handles, especially on TikTok. We are 10 followers away from making 1,000. I really appreciate if you go and like, comment, and subscribe, but also like, comment, and subscribe here at the Lyons Den Podcast. We need to grow, and I would love to have you guys support. Follow us on everything. We'll be back. And let me know if there's a show that you would like me to cover. I will cover most things if they're not scary. I'll cover it. So let me know in the comments what you want me to cover. And if there's something that you think I left out or questions you had or theories, would love to hear all of that. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you guys later.